Bullied Kid Prepares for Ice Age. Zhang Yi and the team rode off. Ye Xiaoshan suddenly welcomed Teacher Liang Yue, saying, "Teacher Liang." Zhang Yi said to Teacher Liang Yue, "We're heading back now. By the way, as promised, I shall provide you with accommodation and some food. After that, you should head to Shujia town. There are many vacant houses available there." Teacher Liang Yue asked, "Couldn't you come back and take us there later?" Zhang Yi replied, "Teacher Liang, I fulfilled our promise by rescuing your students. To show my gratitude, I also promise to provide you and your students with food and accommodation. If you want more, you'll need to offer something in return." He pointed his finger at Teacher Liang Yue and added, "It's because we're friends that it's crucial to be clear about these things. It guarantees our relationship remains strong." Teacher Liang Yue exhaled deeply and said, "All right, we'll go by ourselves then." Zhang Yi said, "Fine, see you in Shujia town." Zhang Yi looked at her from behind and thought to himself, "I don't care about your students. But someone with your martial skills and innate talents is too valuable to let go. I must make you mine." A few moments later, Teacher Liang Yue asked the students as they burned the furniture, "Are you all okay?" A student said, "Teacher Liang, why did they leave? Didn't they say they'd arrange a place for us to stay?" Teacher Liang Yue replied, "Don't worry, Zhang Yi and I discussed it. I will take you all to Shujia town, which has a good living environment. Moreover, Shujia town has villagers and is near the Lu River, so we can catch fish for food." Wu Chengyu said, "Teacher Liang, I heard Yang Xingxin and Lu Karan moved into Zhang Yi's villa. Why don't you ask Zhang Yi to let us stay there too?" His friend added, "Yes, if Yang Xingxin and Lu Karan can stay. Why can't we?" A malnourished girl said, "Teacher Liang, please talk to Zhang Yi." Her friend added, "It's so cold outside. If we go out to catch fish, our hands will freeze." Teacher Liang Yue said, "That's out of the question. Zhang Yi helped us leave Shishan base, and that was a hard-earned favor. Why would he let us stay in his shelter? At least now we're free, which is better than living in constant fear at Shishan base." The girl said, "But..." Teacher Liang Yue cut her off, saying, "That's enough, no more talking." She sat on the floor and added, "Tonight, we'll take turns keeping watch. Rest well. We'll leave for Shujia town in the morning." The next day, Zhang Yi said, "Uncle Yu, why don't you and Anzhou move here? Yongke Manor has luxurious villas, and you can choose whichever you like. The living conditions are much better than from Yuelu community. Being close, we can look after each other." Uncle Yu Jiguang said, "Yes, I think that's a good idea. After this battle, I realized the importance of unity. Honestly, living there alone sometimes felt a bit scary." Chunlei said, "Uncle Yu, what are you scared of?" Chunlei said, "With your skills, unless you encounter an organization like Shishan Base, ordinary people in groups of 30 or 50 are no match for you." Uncle Yu Jiguang replied, "What worries me is encountering similar organizations." Zhang Yi said, "Uncle Yu's concern is valid. From what Chen Xinian said before he died, it's clear Shishan Base isn't the only one in Tianhai City. Although the Ice Age has killed most people, those who survived are tough. Tianhai City is a megacity with 20 million people. Can you imagine how many different people and armed groups might be here?" Zhang Yi continued, "But there's no need to worry too much. Jishan Base was so powerful, yet we still managed to destroy it." He got out of the Hummer and added, "Living together now with our current strength, no one will dare to harm us." Uncle Yu Jiguang said, "You're right. Let's pack up and move immediately." A few moments later, Zhang Yi said, "I'm completely fine," as Dr. Zhou Ke and Yang Mi looked worried. "Are you sure you're not injured?" Uncle Yu Jiguang replied, "Don't worry. I'm perfectly fine." Zhang Yi looked at Lu Karan and said, "Thank you all. This victory couldn't have been achieved without your help." He hugged her. Lu Karan blushed and said, "I just did a little bit. It was mostly you guys putting in the effort." She hugged back. Zhang Yi said, "Don't belittle yourself. You're very important to me," and pinched her face. Yang Xingxin looked at them with a serious stare, while Lu Karan blushed in embarrassment. Zhang Yi suddenly went to Yang Xingxin and said, "If you ask me, the biggest hero this time is definitely Jin Xin." He hugged her awkwardly and added, "If it weren't for your strong hacking skills, our entire operation wouldn't have been possible." A few hours later, Yang Mi said to Zhang Yi, "Of course, moving back would be great. After all, the shelter's conditions are so good and it's much more spacious." Uncle Yu Jiguang asked, "What do you think?" A5 said, "Is that villa I bought still around? I spent 200 million on it back then." Zhang Yi replied, "It was destroyed a long time ago, but there are still many intact villas. You can just choose another one to live in. That was my life savings, Zhang Yi said. Everyone, just take your daily necessities with you. Keep the house as it is, and leave some supplies behind. If something happens there, we can use this place as a temporary refuge. Zhang Yi thought to himself, this place, no one can enter except me. I'm not kind enough to leave it for others to use. Suddenly, Zhang Yi noticed Li Jian peeking at them in the distance of the hallway. Zhang Yi asked, Li Jian, what are you doing here? Did Uncle Yu let you up? Li Jian replied, there was a big explosion on the west side last night. It woke us all up, so we haven't slept at all. Then I saw you come back this morning. Just thought I'd come and check on you. Zhang Yi asked, how's your body been lately? Any unusual symptoms? Li Jian said, no, I don't dare use this superpower ability lightly. Professor Ji warned me that if I use it too much, I might end up as fertilizer. Zhang Yi said, well, take care. A few hours later, Zhang Yi said, there are still over 10 undamaged villas around here. When you two have done resting, feel free to choose anyone you like. Uncle Yu Jiguang and Chunlei said, great. Zhang Yi and Hua Hua entered their room. Zhang Yi immediately went to bed and thought to himself, the effects of this stimulant have started to wear off, and I'll soon enter a weakened state. After a month of being on edge, I can finally get a good night's sleep. In another scene, teacher Liang Yue and her students walked outside. An old lady murmured to herself, Zhishan Base's people? What are they doing here? Teacher Liang Yue thought to herself, well, the housing problem has been resolved, but we still have a food problem. The students couldn't learn quickly to catch fish from under the ice, and I couldn't ask these villagers. I'll need to ask Zhang Yi to get us some food for a while. In another scene, Dr. Joker said to Zhang Yi while he rested on her lap, Zhang Yi, now that we're secure, have you thought about having a child? Zhang Yi replied, why think about that? Having a child would mean focusing on them all the time. He touched her face and said, enjoy the present and don't worry about the future. Dr. Joker's face became sad. Zhang Yi thought to himself, I'm not planning to have children. It would disrupt our current lives, and in these times, an extra life is just another burden. Dr. Joker said, but I want to have a child with you as a symbol of our love. She worried and thought to herself, with more women in the shelter, having a child would secure my place in your heart, right? Zhang Yi sat up and said, that sounds too complicated. There's a simpler way. Dr. Joker asked, what's that? Zhang Yi said, just maintain your appearance and improve your skills. Dr. Joker got frustrated and said, you're just teasing me. How can one practice this alone? Zhang Yi said, you're only being bold because I'm currently weak. Once I recover, you'll see what I'm truly capable of. Uncle Yu Jiguang suddenly knocked outside. Dr. Joker said, I'm looking forward to it. Uncle Yu Jiguang said, Zhang Yi, Liang Yu has come to see you. Zhang Yi said, let her in. I also have some matters to discuss with her. A few moments later, Yang Mi grabbed Zhang Yi and said, no need, I'm not that weak yet. He then called out, Liang Yu, please come in and have a seat. Zhang Yi asked, why aren't you in your combat suit? Teacher Liang Yue said, the temperature control system requires electricity to operate. Zhang Yi thought to himself, true, not everyone has a constant power supply like I do. He said, Liang Yue, with your skills, you could be living much more comfortably. I didn't expect things to be so tough for you now. Is there something specific you need to discuss with me? Teacher Liang Yue said, we had an agreement that if I help you take down Zhishan Base, you would provide shelter and food for me and my students. Now that the base is gone, and there's ample housing in Shujia town, I need you to fulfill your end of the promise with food supplies. You know, my students aren't exactly survivors. They're used to living a comfortable life, and it'll take them time to adjust to scavenging for food or fishing in the river. Zhang Yi said, so you're saying they didn't suffer enough at Zhishan Base? Teacher Liang Yue said, let's not dwell on that. The fact is, they need food to get through the next few weeks while they adjust. I promise I'll figure out a long-term solution, but for now, I need your help. Zhang Yi said, of course. He took out food from his secret space and said, here are enough supplies to last you and your students about 2 weeks. Take them, it's part of our deal. Teacher Liang Yue said, thank you, Zhang Yi. Zhang Yi said, no need to thank me. Teacher Liang Yue said, you deserve it. It can't be easy, looking after a group of students on your own. She sighed and thought to herself, since the apocalypse, I've been tirelessly protecting them as a teacher. They rely on me, but no one asked me if I'm tired. Teacher Liang Yue said to Zhang Yi, thanks, but I can't abandon them. If I let go, They wouldn't survive in this world. That would be something I could never forgive myself for. Zhang Yi thought to himself, is it because you can't let go of your responsibilities and duties that you end up so exhausted? If I could help Liang Yue reasonably deal with those students, she might be really happy, since she's sticking with them because of her beliefs. Maybe all she needs is the right reason to leave them. She could live a new life with peace of mind. Anyway, those students aren't bad people. If an opportunity arises in the future, getting rid of them could lighten her load and improve her situation. Zhang Yi said, you've been spoiling them. They're old enough to fend for themselves, yet they act like children, relying on you for everything. What's your plan after the food runs out? Are you going to keep supporting them all by yourself? Teacher Liang Yue thought to herself, what else can I do? I thought they would become mature after everything we've been through, but apparently I was wrong. Zhang Yi said, you're too good to them and it's making your life harder. Let me help. Teacher Liang Yue asked, what do you mean? Zhang Yi replied, I mean, I can provide you with food. You know I have plenty of supplies on hand, and the food stock is more than sufficient. Adding your group of more than 10 people won't be a problem at all. Seeing you go through this difficulty, I can't just stand by as a compassionate person. Teacher Liang Yue asked, before we proceed, I need to know, what exactly do you want from us in exchange for your help? Zhang Yi said, let me be clear, I'm not offering to help everyone, just you specifically. I need something in exchange for the food. Teacher Liang Yue asked, what do you want? Zhang Yi said, I want you personally. Teacher Liang Yue was shocked and blushed. She pointed back and said, don't be ridiculous. I'm not going to sell myself. Zhang Yi said, no, you've misunderstood. I mean, I want you to be my personal trainer, to teach me martial arts. That's all. How is this obscene? Teacher Liang Yue said, ah? Zhang Yi said, oh, so you thought I wanted you to do that? Well, what are you thinking? You're a teacher. Teacher Liang Yue, feeling embarrassed, said, I'm sorry. I misunderstood your meaning. Zhang Yi said, you really think I, Zhang Yi, am that kind of person? Liang Yu, you've underestimated me. Zhang Yi continued, if you're willing to be my trainer, that's fine. If not, then it's up to you. I'm not going to force it. You can leave if you're not interested. Teacher Liang Yue said, wait, I'm willing. If you want me to teach you martial arts, I have no objection. Yang Xingxin, listening from a corner, thought to herself, does Brother Zhang have personal feelings for Teacher Liang? Teacher Liang Yue thought to herself, if teaching Zhang Yi martial arts is enough to secure food, I definitely don't want to miss this opportunity. Zhang Yi thought to himself, a powerful and straightforward teacher like her is definitely appealing. Zhang Yi said, so, if you agree to come to the shelter and train me for at least 2 hours each day, I'll provide food for 10 people in exchange. Teacher Liang Yue asked, 10 people? She continued, could you give a little bit more? There are 16 of us, and 10 portions won't be enough. Zhang Yi said, Teacher Liang, I hope you can understand my difficulties. This isn't a one-time deal, it's a daily supply. Besides, you don't want your students to become lazy and depend solely on my aid, do you? Teacher Liang Yue said, all right, 10 portions it is. She then walked out. Zhang Yi rested on his million-yuan couch. Suddenly, Yang Xingxin and Lu Keran walked by. Zhang Yi said, you came a little late. Teacher Liang just left. Yang Xingxin said, I'm here because she left. Zhang Yi asked, you don't want to talk to your teacher? Yang Xingxin replied, we didn't want to interfere with your negotiation. Besides, it could complicate things if we were present. Suddenly, Yang Xingxin became serious and asked, brother, are you trying to pursue Teacher Liang? Zhang Yi, spitting out the water he was drinking, said, why are you suddenly asking such a question? Lu Keran said, wow, big brother, you're quite the ladies' man. You already have 2 sisters, and now you're interested in our teacher too. Yang Xingxin said, historically, forming alliances through relationships has been a pretty effective strategy. Teacher Liang is incredibly strong, and from a woman's perspective, she definitely has a lot of appeal to the opposite sex. Given her somewhat innocent and straightforward nature, it's not surprising at all that you'd be interested in her brother. Zhang Yi said, I'm not interested in a romantic relationship with her. Liang Yue's combat skills are impressive, and she could be a valuable addition to our team. My plan is to bring her on board. As for romance, that's out of the question. Yang Xingxin said, I see. If that's the case, then go ahead and do your best, brother. I will also help you. Zhang Yi asked, help me? Yang Xingxin said, I know what kind of person Teacher Liang is better than you do. If anyone can figure out how to convince her to join us, it's me. Zhang Yi said, actually, it doesn't have to be that complicated. Given our supplies, it wouldn't be hard to tempt her. Yang Xingxin said, the tricky part is how to help her get rid of those troublesome students. Zhang Yi agreed, exactly. I don't want to strain our relationship. If she finds out we did something to her students, she'll come after us with everything she's got. Yang Xingxin said, there will be a chance. Zhang Yi said, I'll find a way. If you have a plan, just go for it. But be careful not to get caught by Liang Yu. Yang Xingxin said, all right, I understand. Yang Xingxin then added, by the way, I've been going through the data from Zhishan base. There's something I need to tell you. Zhang Yi asked, what's going on? Yang Xingxin replied, the base was officially built by the government, fully equipped and loaded with information. I've discovered a lot of interesting details. Zhang Yi asks, like what? Yang Xingxin replied, the amount of information is overwhelming and I'm still working through it. But I wanted to give you a heads up so you can brace yourself. From what I've gathered so far, it's clear that Tianhai City has more than just one powerful organization like the Xishan base. Brother Zhang Yi, with all the commotion we've caused, do you think we've attracted the attention of other organizations? Zhang Yi said, it's possible. In such a big city, there's no way Xishan base is the only strong armed organization. Yang Xingxin continued, different organizations have their own agendas. But what if there are multiple groups just as powerful as the Xishan base? Zhang Yi said, let's hope we don't end up clashing with other organizations. However, if we do encounter any, we're not afraid. With our current supplies and strength, we can handle any opposition. He thought to himself, including Liang Yue, we now have 5 people with superpower abilities. Any organization thinking of challenging us will need to reconsider their decision. Yang Xingxin said, understood. I'll organize all the information as quickly as possible and pass it to you. Zhang Yi said, thank you for your hard work. Zhang Yi then spoke to Lucaran, can you come here for a moment? Lucaran replied, of course, just let me know what you need. Zhang Yi said, here's the situation. Now Yun Kimono is not just occupied by us. Shu Fadi and Uncle Yu's family have also moved in, and they are living nearby. If we face another invasion, I don't want to be in a passive defense like before. So, I need your help to design a blueprint for a defensive fortification. We plan to build a defensive fortification around the 3 families' areas to guard against enemies. Lucaran said, while the design might be straightforward, constructing a substantial defensive fortification will be challenging with our current manpower and lack of heavy machinery. Transporting materials is also an issue. Zhang Yi asks, what do you think we're missing? Transporting materials is something I can handle. We can count on Uncle Yu for labor, and Shu Fadi's control over ice and snow will also be useful. If we need to cut materials, we should call Liang Yu. Wahua can help with heavy lifting. Do you think there are any remaining issues? Lucaran continued, yes, it seems that even though we have a limited number of people, each of us has unique skills. Building an impenetrable defensive fortification now appears to be quite feasible. Zhang Yi said, you start with the design. Once you know what materials and work are needed, just let me know, and I'll handle it. Lucaran said, got it. I'll keep you informed. A few days later, in the living room, Zhang Yi pointed at the map and said, we'll set up a solid defensive fortification around our 3 households. This way, if we face a strong enemy, we won't be caught off guard. Even if the defensive fortification is breached, we can fall back to the shelter and keep defending. Uncle Yu Jiguang and Chunlei said, sounds good, we'll proceed as you suggested. Chunlei added, brother, we're on the same page. Honestly, I'm worried that one night I might wake up to find someone breaking in with a gun pointed at me. Uncle Yu Jiguang said, since we're building a defensive fortification, we shouldn't just focus on defense, we need some counterattack capability as well. My suggestion is to equip it with strong firepower. Chunlei asked, what about weapons and ammunition? Zhang Yi said, that's easy. Karen can make bullets, and I have plenty of firearms. However, given that any attackers will likely be heavily armed, we'll need heavy firepower. Once we're fully recovered in a few days, let's visit the ruins of the Xishan base. They have a lot of useful items there. Uncle Yu Jiguang said, considering Xishan base's defensive capabilities, their setup probably isn't much worse than our shelter. We could dismantle some materials to reinforce our defenses. Zhang Yi said, their construction is monolithic and integrated, so dismantling it won't be easy. Where else can we get enough construction materials? Uncle Yu Jiguang said, For building works, we need rebar, cement, and concrete. We can't just use snow for the defensive fortification. Zhang Yi said, actually, using ice blocks to build the defensive fortification could be a good idea. Since the Lujing River is nearby, we can harvest large ice blocks to build the walls. Given the current temperatures, the ice won't melt quickly and is easy to repair. It's a viable material. When the time comes, we can incorporate some steel bars as a skeleton inside, which will allow us to easily and quickly build an ice and snow wall. Thanks for tuning in. I truly appreciate each and every one of you who took the time to watch this video. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more content like this. If you enjoyed what you saw, consider sharing my videos or channel with your friends who might also enjoy it. Your support means the world to me and helps my channel grow. Let's keep this community thriving together. Until next time, see you in the next video.